Welcome to Metal Gear Explained. Today we're going to be diving into this trailer and showcasing some things. We just finished doing the release date and key information, but I want to go deeper down the rabbit hole and talk about some of this stuff so that you can understand what you're getting out of the brand new remake for Delta. First things first that I could say is just visually, it looks great. This video is actually not in the high quality 4K or 1080 that I had. So you're even watching this in a lower resolution than it should be. And it still looks amazing in my opinion. And I cannot wait for this to officially drop, which is happening on August 28th. If you didn't know and didn't watch my original trailer, super cool. This video has tons and tons of stuff to talk about. I want to act like you're a new person and probably never played Metal Gear before when I do this introduction. So make sure that if you're a veteran, feel free to share extra information. I don't want to spoil the whole story, but we do want to kind of introduce what's going on. It is a 20-year-old remake, guys. So I'm assuming people might know something about this, but if not, this should be a good introduction. And the first thing that I want to say before we get into screen for screen and shot for shot is that this is the actual first chronological story that happens in Metal Gear with Big Boss slash you Naked Snake slash the one and the only, the best of the best, the legendary hero. So you going to basically learn as you go, just as much as we learn. He is learning and stuff like that. This right here is such a cool confirmation of things that I've already showcased and talked about, broke down thoroughly. This location is exact to what it was originally. Okay, I mean, visually it looks spectacular, but as far as the structure goes, it's the same. And that is a good thing. You don't want a game to ruin what it was meant to be. And in this very scene, there's some cool cutscene thing that you can do. You can skip a boss fight during basically a cutscene if you shoot down somebody before they leave this area, which is just a little hint for new players. It's just a cool feature in Metal Gear where like you can do things like that. Like you can just kill off a boss as he walks away and then you won't have to fight him later, which is interesting. But yeah, that's a cool mechanic. And then what I want to talk about these animations here and the water. Looks very beautiful. You can see Snake coming out of the water and they wanted to kind of showcase that. And I want to talk about the cover system. In the more recent games, they made it very fluid, easy to just touch a wall and you're on it. You can get in and out of cover once you get used to it, and it's a good mechanic. So I love that. And when you look at this character, he has the traditional radio that you could shoot if you didn't know for new players. You can shoot that radio to stop them from calling for backup. So they're pretty much screwed from asking, headquarters, hey, send reinforcements or anything like that, which is awesome. And we get to see the weapon, we get to see his gear, and then just external stuff like the can and things like that. But this is very important because this is key to the game. And when you look at Snake, coming out here with his CQC, the traditional grab the top of the body and then kick low to basically throw them off balance. And then he gets a hold of them. And in this mode, if you didn't know, you can basically interrogate them, slit their throat, choke them out, or slam them to the ground. There's options, or you can even use them as a shield to take down another enemy. In this situation, I would turn around and shoot the other guy in the head and then finish this guy off right after. That way, we're good to go. But the fact that it's there, very good, very good. And I want to talk about this. This is a scene where you're infiltrating the big base. This is one of the most important areas in the game, and you're really trying to get in there. And there's a lot going on, a lot of little areas. You're entering one section and you're jumping into another, and there's patrol dogs and characters roaming around and spotlights, and it's pretty intense if you don't know where you're going. But it looks like most of this is pretty similar. And again, I haven't played the game in a little bit, but the original, this looks pretty much identical. They have the little sneaky areas you can go through just kind of like little gateways that you can crawl under. And then of course the doors and things like that they allow you. So this is a good confirmation in my opinion. And the characters look great as far as the enemies. Very, very special. And then of course little details with Ocelot, for example, you know, his being the best visuals. He's my favorite character, by the way, but the best visuals, like he just looks like the badass that he is, but he's somewhat of a brat as well. In this original game, you're getting introduced to him, but we've played against him for 2 previous games, and he's been the worst of the worst in both of those games. And so to get him is the new young version. This is in the 60s. Is super cool to see the visuals improvement and so on. And then we got the one and the only Vogan. Vogan's an interesting character. We just finished seeing concept art about the different versions of Vogan that they had. And this is the one that they went with, the deformed skin and, you know, just being such a badass. He originally had bullets in his body all over him and things like that. And it was a pretty interesting way to showcase him, but they went with this one. And then you see him here. He looks very menacing. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And of course, Snake being Snake with the knife and things like that. I want to talk about the boss. There's been a lot of controversy on what the boss should look like or shouldn't look like. I mean, she's a worn down soldier who's been through hell and back, literally. So, I mean, she has to look tough, but she has to look a little beaten. And she's going through a lot in this game. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot going on in this game, and it's just weighing on her. And I feel like they really portrayed that to a certain extent. You can see who she is, how she is, and so on. And then we're just watching the little bit of cutscenes, and we've seen this one before, but it's just very cool. The little romance that Eva has, and she looks, as usual, very beautiful, well put together. And you know, she's a super important character just to kind of introduce people to her. She's the mother of mothers. That'll make sense when you play part 4, but this is the introduction to her, and she's kind of a spy in this game, and you're working with or against her. Who knows what's really going on? You got to play the game and see what that would take you. And of course, the boss sunning you all over the place. This is something that's not a spoiler, but you've seen it in one of the first trailers, and in this trailer here, she's just badass. Like, you don't want to mess with her, and she's dominating on everybody, no matter what. And that's something that you gotta love about her. And yeah. And then one of the coolest things, the bird, not really, but this bird right here is actually a fun little Easter egg for people. There's things you can do with the egg, this beautiful bird, and I don't want to spoil it. It's an Easter egg for the boss fight or maybe something later. There's different things with this bird that I think is cool. And it's up to you if you want to capture it, kill it, or just let it be. But it's an option. And I love that when video games add these small details, things like that. Then this is the coolest thing where they introduce these bosses for the game. And of course, the one and the only Old Man Grandpa, aka The End. And you gotta love this guy. He has supernatural abilities. He's super fast. He's got amazing aim. Like, he has a lot of good qualities, but he's so old that he mostly sleeps all day unless there's a good fight, which you're going to be giving him a good fight, or he's going to give you a good fight. And if I envy any new player that's never fought the boss, don't Google or listen to me when I tell you, just go in there and figure it out and just experiment, because there's so many different ways to take him out. And I think it's going to be a fun ride to kind of do that and to go forward. Then we have the B-Man, aka the Pain. What I love about the Pain here is that, you know, he's more of a challenge than you think, especially when you start off. You're not sure what to expect with this game, and it's interesting. And these characters, these bosses, the Cobra unit, you know, they found an emotion to fight with, and the boss tells you you're not ready. You don't have an emotion, and these guys do. So you have the N, you have Pain, which that's him right here, and then you have Fear, in which he has camo, as you can see, and then he has this spider-like, you know, Spider-Man, basically the original Spider-Man. Lizard-like craziness that he is. Super cool. Absolutely love him. And then Fury. This is something that some people really love. Fury. I've never been a big fan, and I don't know what it was, but pretty cool mechanics and boss fight in this one as well. One of my favorite of all times, which we're gonna get into, and this is a reason why I had my nephew play this at 5 years old. I made him play the whole game, but this was one of the most important things right here, is that sequence when you're going through the swamp and you're basically on a boss fight against Sorrow. I don't want to spoil it too heavily. Maybe we'll do a separate video with spoilers in it. But I believe with all my heart that this is one of the most conscious messages for players in all of gaming. So I would suggest you take a look and experience this part, but really understand what the message was. Because as you know, the game's about anti-war, not killing people, and all this stuff. So super cool. I want to take a moment to showcase these cinematics. All right, just think about these visuals right here. Just the combat right there, the emotions in their faces. Unlike other games that we've had, these older ones, like you can see emotions in these characters. You know, different emotions are going to be very good for this game. That's the main thing I'm going to be paying attention to when the cutscenes comes, is like the facial expressions and emotions that come from these characters. The voice acting has been the best, we know that, but it's not just about voice acting. You can get the facial animations and things like that. It just makes it even better. One of the most incredible iconic scenes, I did a breakdown of this on a short, which I think is one of my favorite shorts I've ever done in the history of YouTube, where I did a comparison to the movie Fugitive, because that's what this is, a tribute to Fugitive. You can see Ocelot chasing down Big Boss. It's just a cool mechanic. And like son and mother, Ocelot and the boss showcased there. And we got finally a lot of Metal Gear. The name of the game is called Metal Gear, right? And originally Metal Gear was supposed to be just about different characters and the wars, but they put a Metal Gear, boss fight into it, and that's why the name became Metal Gear. That's what Kojima's storyline was when he explained that originally it was just going to be about following the issues of society, about politics and war and anti-war and messages within the game. But there's always a Metal Gear because that's the gameplay stuff, right? And this one right here, if you pay attention, is badass. And it's such a cool Metal Gear. I mean, like if we put all the Metal Gears against each other, I think this one could hold its own a bit. There's some really amazing ones also in other games, but yeah, super cool. And I wanted to talk about this last part here, Vogan. I mean, he's an amazing boss fight. In this situation, he's charging something up. Who knows what that is? But let's just say it gets very crazy if you're new to this game and you're experiencing it. And so I'm excited about that as we go forward. And there should be some fun stuff if you're new. And if you've been watching this and you're going crazy because you know all these secrets, then thank you so much for tuning in and just vibing with me on some of these little hints for new players. But another new player thing is this very cool new extra mode. So on top of this story and all the cool stuff, they give you a second mode where you chase down monkeys throughout the jungle. And it's pretty hilarious, and they taunt you, and it's funny, fun stuff. Plus it says and more. I believe that there'll be some online stuff, hopefully. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it would be very cool if they do that. But that's the general breakdown of the new trailer and the new information. I'm ready to cover this series thoroughly, and I wanted to just do a deeper dive. And some of the stuff that we've seen, nothing too crazy. I would go even deeper if we want, but I just had to cover this. And so besides all that, I have the release date video, and I'm going to be definitely playing the series as we go forward. I'm going to be scheduling out when I'm going to play each game and kind of fully experience that for you guys. So make sure you lock in on the channel. Make sure you like and comment so that this YouTube video can continue to rise in the algorithm. We can build up from there. Outside of that, another video should be popping up now. We appreciate your time. Peace.